have one team that's probably going to start us off. It's going to be Promodium, and they're going to share an update on their game. They presented last month, but they've gotten a lot of new features since last month. So yeah, I think some more people are rolling in, but we can probably get started soon. Promodium team, are you here? Are you ready? All right, inviting them up on stage.
Hi, Kushada. Thank you for having us here.
You're welcome. Do you want to bring anyone else on stage, or is it just going to be you today?
Yeah, it's just gonna be me today. So, yeah. So, as an introduction, I'm Emerson from Promodium, and last week we released our point 0.7 update, which introduced new combat mechanics and also asteroids for you to build buildings onto your own canvas, and for you to also raid other asteroids for resources and to compete with other people on a leaderboard itself. So I can share my screen here to show our newest progress. Yeah, does this work?
Yeah, we can see it. Okay.
Okay, so right now when you join Promodium, the first thing you see is a play button that spawns your own individual asteroid. So a big change from our last update is instead of having one shared canvas where everybody builds on the same map, we wanted to opt for more use individual sessions for players so that they can build out their own base. And the reason for this is so that each individual player has a feeling of building out their own base and making progress in their own way. So as you can see, as we're building mines, we no longer have a claim feature and resources are being mined over time with each block taking that goes along. And we also have another feature where the canvas that you can build on is limited, so we have a fog of war. And there's a separate research upgrade now called expand range that expands the range for on your individual asteroid on how big you want your build area to be, which also unlocks more resources. These are units that you'll be able to train to invade other asteroids, which is shown from the star map here on the upper left corner. So as you can see in our local neighborhood, there's some asteroids with, this is a neutral one, with iridium, which if you manage to conquer it successfully, then you also get a steady supply of resources that are on these other asteroids itself. There are also other players themselves, so this is another mother lode. Um, and this is someone else's asteroid, which in our next update, we'll also introduce features for you to raid other people's resources as well. But for now, we have these neutral mother loads that are floating around in space. And as you can see, there are a lot more people and players that have joined this time around with a lot of resources and travel time in between different space rocks, which is what we call them. And this is a leaderboard of players who are playing. We will also be shipping a feature soon where you can link your external wallet to the leaderboard because right now these leaderboard addresses are all the built-in browser wallets that we have when you join initially for Promoting for the first time. And yeah, now that I have enough iron, I can build copper mines up on here. And once I have my first copper mine set up, I'll start generating copper as shown over here. And the gameplay for the previous versions of Promodium typically lasts around an hour or so until you unlock the entire tech tree and is able to finish the entire game round. But for this version of Promodium, we stretched out the game timeline such that this is a lot more realistic for people to play in the long run. We also encourage people to build out buildings and come back for further sessions as a retention mechanic. And as you can see, there are also these other buildings that can be built once I've generated more resources. This is similar to the iron plate factory to the previous version that it makes iron plates, except you don't have to manually connect each miner anymore to the factory to back to the main base because now it just automatically produces resources. And that segs to a question that I just saw within the chat, which is how we handle the auto claiming. So the automatic resource collection comes to the fact that previously, previous version of Promodium, when you place down a mine on a resource, you have to connect the path back to the main base, and every time you claim from the main base, we do we do a that first search of all the bases connected to the main base. This time around, every time you place a base down, we just have an atomic update on a map that stores how many miners that you have. So we'll always know how much resources there are on your local asteroid, and therefore there is no more auto claiming. So to fight for another player over a neutral asteroid at the moment, you just land. Well, it just depends on who arrives there first. And we also do have combat numbers or combat balancing on our Promodium Discord for players to reference. So when you land your players onto a neutral mother load, so you can see there's a top right pane here. You can see that, I mean, right now, this new session, we haven't progressed enough to produce units and so on, but we also have a Promodium game guide for referencing like what the UI would look like as well. But essentially, it'll show up here, and you can perform any sort of actions for attacking or just mining resources from the mother loads that you have landed on. Yeah, so thanks for the feedback, Frolic. We'll be adding more tweaks and features to our game as well for our front end. The map on the upper left as well is another phaser instance. That's why it's also panable. And for seeing what the other mother loads and asteroids and space rocks is in your local neighborhood. Anyone have any more questions? I'll be happy to answer them.
Yeah, could you touch on the question that Vera asked, which is just asking like how are you doing the fog of war mechanic?
Oh, yeah, fog of war. Sorry. Okay, so the fog of war mechanic is also just stored in another mud component. We are going to be migrating to mud 2 soon. This is just a component that stores what the current build area is, and then we have research objectives encoded within prototype components on initialization. So this is in the same vein of any research objective that we have implemented within the game itself. Like once we unlock this, we just on the contract side within our build system, we just validate whether it's within the range that you're allowed to build by checking the research by checking the research progress that the current user has.
Very cool. Okay. We got any other questions for Soam here?
Yeah, and also thank you all for bug testing for the game. We do know that as we're testing out the game, there will be some issues. There are currently some contract fixes that need to be done, and we'll be addressing them as we go along, as we release new versions as well. So thank you all for playing.
Oh, we actually have one more question here. Actually, it looks like Kushaba asked, "What does it look like to fight another player over a neutral asteroid?"
Oh, well, I already addressed that. There, like within our tutorial, we do have UI elements for. We do have like screenshots for what it would look like interacting with other players once
Mm.
you've progressed enough to build an asteroid. Yeah, but essentially right now, your goal is just to land on these neutral mother loads as fast as you can to progress through the game. What do you call that? Lazy updates or something else? Yeah, well, because previously we have manual claiming, now we just call it auto claiming. But we can also call them lazy updates because these resources are only calculated when you perform specific actions within the game itself. The client also just references based on how many mines and the rate of resources that each mine is producing. Then we update the front end on every tick. So yeah, it's lazy updating, auto claiming, whatever you want to call it. But the goal is to get ourselves within feature parity for other games, such that such that the players can have less friction to perform actions within the game itself and make decisions and perform transactions. And that also goes to the question that I also just saw. Why did you go through such massive changes? Because our goal is to ship product to learn lessons on what we've hypothesized on in order to deliver a better experience for our players. And these mechanics are lessons that also we've learned from previous games that we've launched, and we wanted to introduce them here to see how players would react to them. And thank you all for playing and also letting us know if there's any issues or suggestions on our Discord.
Could you elaborate a bit on that what you just touched on, which is like you had hypotheses and you like figured stuff out and then you pivoted. Like what exactly did you learn that made you go through such a pivot to these asteroids and PvP, etc.?
Yeah, well, in our experience, it wasn't so much a pivot, but rather mechanics that we wanted to experiment with. So before Promodium, we briefly worked on a game called Crypto Towns. This was before Mud V1. And I also then saw a question on Lattice Discord previously on whether someone has tried to build a Travian or Tribal Wars game with Mud before. And we built that game entirely off chain with porting mechanics into Mud in mind, and that's essentially what we're doing here. Of course, we also took inspiration from other games on the same genre, like including Dark Forest, for example, which inspired, and also a big credit to them being trailblazers for games of this genre. On top of that, we also noticed the node and auto-claiming mechanics, for example, could be quite confusing for players not accustomed with Factorio as a game genre to begin with. And there's also the fact that as we are a on-chain game, what makes Factorio fun uh, in terms of making your factories the most efficiently as possible can't be replicated one-on-one. So as store cards just shared, what we wanted to do with the limited base area in the Fog of War is to replicate that, that enjoyment from having a limited area to optimize for, while also preserving that by not introducing or limiting players with, having additional nodes and connecting pads. Essentially, just increasing the decision space in a way so that players can also experiment with it without hindering them. And that's how we came up with the idea for this update. Yes, and to answer Taylor's question, the titanium bug is actually already fixed on our code base for the next release. We're just testing a lot of other features for our next refresh, and that unfortunately couldn't be addressed within the front end line update, but that's something that will be fixed. Yes. Oh, and to answer Frolic's question, how is Caldera? They've been really great in supporting Mud E1 infrastructure alongside the chain that we're running on. Uh, we we're currently still waiting on the indexer for like a stable deployment on the testnet itself. But as of right now, we've also started migrating our core contracts over to Mud V2. So we're really excited. And also thanks to the Lattice team as well for all the work being put into on that front. Yes, we do plan on open sourcing it down the road for composability for players to be able to build on top of it. Right now, all of our contracts are written in Mud version 1. Also, our client is written in Phaser and React for the components here. Well, as we migrate over when we do a full public launch and we we would open up for other people to build software and other plugins and tools on top of it, we will be open sourcing it, yes. Right now, things are just being moved around, and open sourcing software early does create an overhead on maintenance.
Great, all right, that's amazing to hear. Do we have any other questions? All right, guess not. Well, thank you so much, Som. This was a really exciting update, and I love the way the art looks. I think this update brought a lot of good stuff. So excited to play it.
Yeah,
Feel
thanks
free
again
to
here.
yeah. Yeah, and feel free to drop a link in the chat so people know how to access it, know how to access the game guide and all that stuff too.
Yeah, and thank you all for playing. Let us know if you have any feedback. And thanks again to the Lattice team for also the piece that was released yesterday by Vera. We did also share a lot of thoughts on game design and our philosophy on building features and products and our experiences alongside me, Morris, and Hank, which are all part of the Promodium team. Yeah, really appreciate it. And I'll drop a link.
All right. Thank you, Sam.
Yeah, and also Vera just dropped a piece. Thank you all.
All right. Do we have any volunteers for the next demo for today? I know some of you out there have something you're building, so come on, get up on stage. Let's see it. Let's, give it a minute here. I'm gonna give it one more minute before we give up. But is there anyone who has anything to share? Oh, there you go. Okay. Got 9 sticks coming up to share an update.
Yeah, good afternoon, guys. So let me share one link. After, last time I informed about starting to write some new things for my game. I also promised to launching some latest. That was everything happens, but finally I achieved some problems with synchronization on the indexer, but I think we solve. I need to thank you to do that. Uh, he was my first playtester, and yeah, the game is launched via NetLive and Netlify, and yeah, it's my first step to release. I think you are able to play it if you want. I would like to collect any feedback from you, what you mean about it. I also share my notions, what I use to collect information about the game. Give me a sec. And if you want, we can go through the first round as to small, how to play my game.
Yeah,
It's up to
please
you.
do. Let's see a demo of what it's like.
And so give me a sec. That one. So, no shilling. And I starting sharing my screen. Give me a sec, gentlemen. Ladies, baby, right hook, this one. Okay. So, starting sharing my screen. I hope I will hit the correct one. Okay. Let me know if you can
All
see.
right. Yep. We see it.
So, sorry. I play with my, okay. Sorry.
No worries.
Okay.
Take your time.
It's stopping.
Yeah, I think you stopped your screen share there. Yeah.
Okay.
There you
Now.
go. Yep, we see everything now.
Yeah, sorry guys. So, as you can see, this is the first input. Already a couple of people are in. Okay, great. So let's go to Mint. You under this function basically is the first interaction with the contracts, and you will receive your hero. You can see your stats, what was randomly generated on side of the contract. There is some randomization I look at and I try to train from your comments. Maybe it's not the perfect one for now, but the stats are locked between value 60 and 100 because any of stat giving some boost to your empire and to your economy things and magic things and military solution. We have the view of the resources. This is your current status. And as the first place is the happiness. The happiness is the main factor of the production effectivity. And as you will grow up with enough food, you will receive it 1 point per any turn if you have enough food. But of course, there is some magic what you can choose on the type spell number 2. And if you have enough mana, you will following rounds in until 5-6 rounds you are able to start cast, and you can dramatically increase your production, and also you with specific spells you are able to control the boost what you cast on yourself, or you can cast on other colleagues later on. So let's go to first the turn. We have some prediction of increment production per turn. We have also some storage limitation of current resources on site. And let's start to own some new units what are a base for the production. You can see we start consuming a little bit more food, and our production of the mana growing up. Okay, let's do some couple of new farmers, woodcutters and stoners to increase my base turn productivity. And you can see under the turn button is running the progress bar, very easy solution to see until the current turn hit is counted in the epoch. This means in a couple of blocks, in 7 blocks, will be start the new epoch of the game. And basically this is the K base of the game logic. Each player is able to play only 15 turns per each epoch. And each new turn in after the new epoch, the genesis of the new epoch is counted as the new turn. And you can see I am able currently, because it's second epoch of the world, I can play totally 30 epochs in one shot. There I also applied limit to be not basically to avoid the status the players will join the game very late. That's mean he will receive unlimited turns played in epoch, because finally I would like to achieve each player finally is able to consume the same amounts of the turn. It's up to you how you will design the strategy. If you will, for example, try to catch some turns as stack your turns for 45s, and you have some strategy vision how to manage it, that 45 turns in one epoch as defense, as attack. Yeah, it's for me it's kind of boundaries how to push the players to think forward. Yeah. I think that's the base about how to receive the resources, how to build the units, and then are here the buildings, the basic limitation per lands. Today without any position on the map, but in future, if I will have, yeah, is the long journey before me, how I would like to combine the functionality as additional content of the gaming. For example, pushing the player play minimum 5 turns per turn as some loot box achieving, and yeah, I playing with the mind what can be for the players. Yeah, like to play my game. So buildings are very easy. We have here some limits. This means if we growing up, we can go over potential lens limits. we are also limited with the resources to buy the new limits. There is applied incremented functionality for the cost of units and buildings according size of the lands. That's mean to have some dynamic connection as you growing up. You have the needs for your productivity are also higher. Uh, that's the specific for the buildings, and then we have the funny parts after 5 epochs of game. It's starting the fight. You are able to send against your enemy the soldiers, archers or knights. They have different stats on attack and defense. You can recall the attack back, and I'm struggling a little bit with the limits on the contract size. Currently, I am able to achieve 500 attacks list. Really, I base it on the contract. I still not move it really to table solution. I already have some couple of functionality what is in a little bit different way as originally contract poor solution. Yeah, and that's I think at all because the thieves are in the same way. Yeah, how much thieves attacking the your target, and for thieves I prepare the solution via additional resources as gold, what giving basically totally separate line of some view of the extension of the game component to have under control the production of the gold with some for example magics things or some building special building list will be applied and etc. Yeah, that's at all the vision. I hope a couple of people growing up. Uh, yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. Thank
You
you,
can
96.
be. Yeah, that's I think all. If you have any question, do not hesitate to ask. Yeah, and I am happy if any playtester will give me some feedback.
Yeah, we got Waz saying, "Are you running playtests for this game?"
Yes. Just follow the link what I shared. For your save, I recommend to use Poor Brave, of course. And I think today will be also not problem if you will launch multiple accounts. Of course, please don't spawn. I put limit 50 players according the limits of the contract size as the maximum minted hero per the game.
Do you have anywhere where people are like getting together to play test together, or is it kind of just people are playing separately through the link?
So today is today is launched. Everybody is new one. So that's me. Yeah, let's start to build the community. If you want, it's up to you guys. If you will support me, I will be happy to learn more and bring you, new journey in gaming from my view. What I like it in when I was young and now are the contracts here.
Nice. Okay.
So
We got some other questions. Will you be adding a 2D engine like Phaser?
yes, I have planned for that with the vision about loot boxes. Simply labyrinth to start to learn the solutions with kind of pet route for your character to bring the character inside the resources, uh, basic loot boxes to decide okay if you wanna loot resources or some magic spell for now or experience for hero. Yeah, that's vision for me for the phaser. And of course I would like to open but still give me open the source but give me time to little bit arrange my code style and learn more how to do it correctly because currently it's big disaster of the code. I trying to pack the react to components, the things what I see in your project. I that's the last point what I would like to say. Thank you guys. You are my advisor, my mentors, and I learning by you. What you doing first, I just copy it and try to apply it in my dreams. Yeah. Thank you guys.
Wow, thank you, 96. That's awesome. Well, yeah, thank you for the presentation. Unless we have any last questions, we can take volunteers for any other demos. Just going to give it like a good 20 seconds, see if anyone's going to volunteer, and if not, we can end it. All right, well, it looks like that's all for today, but we look forward to seeing all of you at the core dev call in 2 weeks from now, as well as the next community demos call a month from now. And we'll definitely have another Skystrife update for then, and we'll get some other projects lined up for that next one. But yeah, see everyone in 2 weeks or a month from now. See you later.